warm welcome to this edition of the Art Bulletin on this, our second day at the newly established shopping mall called Newtown Junction in Johannesburg. Nagina Tumi Sedumedi, and thank you for always choosing to stay with Morning Live. Talented and hard-working dancer and choreographer Thabiso Pule has teamed up with 3 young dancers to come up with a piece titled Body Evidence in Space 1, 2 and maybe 3. The piece will be showcased at the Bapedi Arts and Culture Center out in Miraland, Soweto, and will explore the relationship between body, space and object.
This performance, it's about how you can transform space, how you can move within space. It's not about dance, because I want to tell a story that dance is, I'm not actually a dancer, I'm a choreographer and an artist. So how you can take simple movements and make them things that you can do whatever you want to do with it, but you can have a direction in terms of choreographing simple things than complicated things, so that people even in the in Soweto where I stay, they can understand what is dance and all those, because we have a lack of audiences in Soweto. So we try to bring people in to say this is dance and this is how you move. We can do things with those kind of movement that you do every day in our everyday life. This year we're performing it on the 5th of December, performing at 6 o'clock, and then damage is 5 rand, so that we attracting people to say this is what we're doing in Soweto and this is Meadowlands, and then we're working it in Soweto at Bapedi Art and Culture. So we're trying to bring people in, but it's 6 o'clock on the 5th of December.
This week, for 3 days, the NFVF hosted workshops in Gauteng for aspiring filmmakers. The workshops were conducted by Loiso Makoma, Simon Makwela, and Akino Motoso. The 3 filmmakers shared the intricacies of script writing, producing, and directing with the young filmmakers.
It's a national agency to promote filmmaking and obviously encourage younger filmmakers to come into the space. So I think workshops like this, part and parcel of that mission to tell people about the exciting prospects of the industry, to encourage people to come into our industry. So I would say that is the purpose. And being a national agency, you got to do it all around. You can't just do it in one place. So it's a traveling show. It moves around from province to province, and the main aim, of course, is to promote not just the foundation, but our industry. I think there is a great need. We live in a day and age where content is king. A lot of possibilities of creating content, and people always want to see stories. And I think any industry, you have to always bring in. You can't just have the old. You got to be bringing in the new. Who's going to, I don't want to use words like take over, but who's coming behind? Who are we helping to bring up the standard or keep the standard? So I think that that's very important. I hope that from the sessions, the producing sessions, the pitching sessions, the screenwriting, and the session that I take, which is directing, that somehow we convey our love of our industry, and that they also go away with that feeling.
Between the 3rd and the 7th of December, Monte Casino out in Fourways will host the Monte Casino Christmas Market, which will showcase a variety of crafts from around the country. The crafts will include beadwork ornaments by women from rural communities and chairs made from 2-liter plastic bottles by a young adult welfare project.
We're very excited about our exhibitors. We have a large variety. We have small to medium enterprises as well as individuals, and it really just gives them a platform to showcase their products, which they normally wouldn't have. We've opened the door to people who specialize in Christmas, who specialize in looking after other people, development within the community. So it's really been a fantastic experience from an exhibitor perspective. Monte Casino did a massive media campaign to encourage people to take part in the event if they felt that they fitted with the brief. So whether they were Christmassy or whether they were a development trust, we've got a feeding scheme that's involved, and they make arts and crafts, and then they sell the arts and crafts, and the money goes back into the feeding scheme. And we had over 250 applicants, and we have landed up with 48 in the end, is our final number.
This year marks the 25th anniversary of the Convention on the Rights of the Child. And to celebrate the milestone and continue highlighting serious issues that affect children of the world, a series of compelling photographic exhibitions are currently on at several places that include the Constitution Hill in Braamfontein. The project is titled Children of War.
The pictures here are brought together a whole group of photojournalists who work in armed conflict, and they're using these photographs to raise awareness about the types of issues faced in these conflict zones. So sometimes the children are taken forcefully from their homes and brought in as spies, as soldiers, used in sex trade, and we really want to be able to highlight that issue so that the more people that are aware can hopefully put some pressure on governments to stop this from happening. The conversations that were happening after the opening were full of hope, but also some anger and some fire, some fire to try to change what's going on, to put pressure on governments and on organizations. I think the more that we can promote and move these kinds of exhibitions around, the better hope we have at making some really positive change.
South African-born film writer and producer Neil Blomkamp, who made his debut as a director with sci-fi film District 9, is back with his latest offering, and this one is titled Chappie. Chappie stars local rap rave duo The Unboard and is set to release on the 6th of March in 2015.
No. It's like when you different.
Chappie is said to be loosely based on Blomkamp's satirical Titra Val. It stars Hugh Jackman, Shalto Copley and Dev Patel of Slumdog Millionaire fame. It tells the story of the misadventures of a robot who's kidnapped by two South African gangsters so that he might serve their own nefarious purposes. Reviewers say Chappie is the first robot with the ability to think and feel for himself. As a result, his life and his story will change the way the world looks at robots and humans forever.
Two emerging visual artists, namely Caroline de Villiers from Cape Town and Thornton Kabeya from Congo, will both get an opportunity to exhibit their works for the first time in Johannesburg. The pair, who've both had an opportunity to exhibit their works in Europe, will be part of Lizamore and Associates year-end exhibition titled New Voices 3.
Their subject matter is quite different. Like you would hear Thornton talks about children and children's safety and issues in the Congo in Africa, whereas Caroline kind of focuses her work on social commentary on society. Her work is quite grotesque, quite comical, where Thornton's are a bit more serious. And her work has quite a very sexual undertone, whereas Thornton's comes across as more innocent because he uses children as a subject matter.
This work is talking about the reality we know in Congo. I've been living in Congo since a long time. Now I live and work in Johannesburg. So this work is, this exhibition is very important for me because I try to mix the Johannesburg reality and Congolese reality, and I try to find the middle between the balance. I always in my work talk about children and street kids. But I haven't seen a street kid in Johannesburg. But there are many homeless, big person. Than kids. That's a very different things to compare to Congo.
One of Germany's most sought-after music educators, Professor Joseph Proschka, will be in Pretoria in February of 2015 to conduct masterclasses for vocalists. If you'd like to participate in the masterclass or even stand a chance to study at the Cologne Music School out in Germany, listen up, because applications are now open.
The requirements are first that you're enthusiastic enough to want to apply for it. You need to make a recording of yourself as a singer, it has to be a Baroque piece, that's music by Bach or Handel, and then one classical piece, that's Mozart or Haydn or Beethoven. And you record those and you send them. I think we'll put the address up on the screen, and you send them to that address, and then you will await further instructions, and we will choose 7 or 8 people to come to the masterclass, which is happening in Pretoria. What happens is Professor Prochka would then choose 7 or 8 people to take part in the masterclass, and he works with them for a week in South Africa at the University of Pretoria. And we're very grateful to the University of Pretoria who provide the facilities for these masterclasses. Then at the end of the week, they give a recital, and Professor Prochka plus some other people choose 1 or 2 people who might be considered then for going to study in Cologne.
And that's how today's edition of the Art Bulletin comes to an end, coming to you from Newtown Junction out in Joburg CBD. To find out more about the new mall, do visit www.newtownjunction.co.za. To keep in touch with us though, you're going to have to tweet @MorningLive SABC and hashtag the Art Bulletin. Until next time, it's a goodbye from us.